Hey, it's Allyson Steinberg, your host, and I'm here just to welcome you to Estheticians in Business, the podcast.
Welcome back. I'm so excited you're here and listening to podcast number 2 of Estheticians in Business, the podcast. And I'm so excited you're here because I just really enjoyed creating podcast number 1. And this week, I really want to talk about something that's been close to my heart. I actually had another topic that I wanted to talk about this week, but I feel like I've had so many students lately who have reached out to me or have become students and have been like, I'm literally don't know what to do. I'm going to close my business. And so we're going to talk about the question, should I close my business? And I was a little weird about doing this topic because I felt like it was something that no, you should never close your business. But let's have some reality. Like let's talk about it. But before we get into that, I've also seen like on this Facebook group I'm in for estheticians, we talk about like the craziest stories. And I actually asked my Facebook group, Estheticians in Business, the Facebook group, check us out if you want some support in like weekly lives on Facebook. But I asked about crazy stories that happened to them as they were like solo estheticians. And I actually want to share with you mine. So if you guys want to join that group and put your crazy stories in there, please let me know because this is fun. But anyways, I want to talk about my crazy stories. So I was like a brand new solo esthetician. If you've been following me for any point in time, you know I always talk about something called the model method, which basically is a method I use to get like 150 clients in less than 3 months. Like it was wild sauce, y'all. I can't even explain to you how crazy it was. And it really jump-started my business and it really helped me understand and learn a lot of things. Well, it put so many new clients in front of me and it made me create a lot of policies. Well, one of the crazy things that happened was I had a client, we'll name her Samantha, and I had a client one day, and I had a client the second day, her name was Pamela. Okay, so first day, right, I come in and I go out there and I go out to the front because I was in a suite, and the suite was like, had like tattoo artists and hairstylists and stuff like that. So when I went out there was a bunch of clients waiting. Now, granted, guys, I didn't know who was coming in. I didn't know what they looked like. So I went out there and I said, "Hey, is Samantha out here?" No, these aren't real names. Let's add that. But I said, "Hey, is Samantha out there? And is anybody Samantha?" And so this girl looked at me. She was, "Oh, that's close enough." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so I'm talking to her. We go through this whole service, y'all. Whole service. I'm like consultation. She also brought her kid to this, which adds to the story, which she didn't tell me about, which is fine. I'm in a small suite, so it wasn't tons of space. But anyway, so I go in, we're doing the facial, all the things, and my phone is blowing up, guys. And I am like a do not disturb girly. So when I'm like seeing the same number call me over and over and over again, I'm like, I gotta look at this. So I told my client, I assume Samantha, I said, just can you, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna let this mask for a second. I just have to step out. I think it's emergency. So I get a phone call and I realize that the woman that's on the phone is actually Samantha, that the person on my table is Pamela who decided to come in early, like a day early, and not and just be like, "Yeah, that's fine." She just thought I could squeeze her in. And I was like, "What?" Like, it was crazy. So I'm like so I went back into the room and I was like, "So what's your name?" And she was like, "Pamela." And I was like, "I said Samantha like 10 times." She was like, "Yeah, I just thought like you just didn't understand." And I'm like, "What?" I said, "Your appointment's tomorrow." She's like, "I know, but you were able to squeeze me in. That's why I came here." And I'm like, "What?" So Samantha waited like 45 minutes, okay? And I ended up taking care of her, like, she came back, had a full thing, and she ended up getting a free service, I took care of her. Pamela was laying on the table, and I was like, I gotta get you out of here. I gotta take care of this other client." Like, "What?" So I try to finish the whole service, and by the end of the service, she's like, "Oh, I don't have my card." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't have my card." And I was like, "Okay, well, you have Venmo, Cash App?" And she was like, I could Zelle you." And I'm like, "Okay." So I let her Zelle me, and then she's like, "I wanna book another appointment," which is wild to me because I cut her appointment, like, in half. This was appointment was already, like, really like, very discounted. So I was just like, "You're not even supposed to be here, like, what's happening?" Right? And I'm a brand new esthetician, so I'm, like, freaking out. Well, anyway, so she ends up paying me, and then I won't let her rebook because she doesn't have a card on file, and I was like, "Absolutely not, I'm so sorry." She's like I was like, "You can rebook another time." She didn't, obviously, because I just didn't let her. Well, anyways, she leaves, okay? She buys product too, which is crazy to me because I was like the whole situation was so odd. Well, during her service, let's add to it, during her service, she had her kid there. And depending on the situation, really depended if I allowed children there. Like if you were a new mom and you had your baby, I would be like, if you are able to relax, that is fine. I'm a mother, so I understand. You cannot relax when you have your toddler there. It's not possible. Well, anyways, she had like her 8-year-old, 9-year-old. And I asked her, I was like, are you going to be relaxed? She was like, yeah, absolutely. Well, her child sat there the whole time and played like screamo music. And I'm a girl that gets down with it. I get it. But like we're in a spa. Okay. Then this person sneezes, has like a booger on her hand and puts it on my wall. Not even joking. And so I'm like, is this happening? Like I'm a new esthetician, guys. I had owned up kind of a business before. And so like I understand like customer service, but I'm losing it. And so this whole thing transpired. Well, anyways, Samantha, the real Samantha, not the one laying on my table, that was Pamela. I'm calling her and I'm apologizing, like, oh my gosh, overboard apologize. Like, please come back. I will give you a free service. I'm so, so, so sorry. So she comes back and she gets the service. She's awesome. She ends up wanting to do like an acne boot camp. Like, all right. So I schedule out for this acne boot camp, all these things. And then her next service, she's supposed to come in. She no shows me. I like remember this vividly, like calling her, like, hey, can you come in? Like, are you coming in? Like, what's going on? And so she's like, oh, I'm not coming in. And I'm like, why? What happened? She's like, I just don't want to come in again. And I'm like, okay. And then she ends up telling me like 3 weeks later that she just didn't have the money to come in. And I was like, I could have just rescheduled you. It was just such a weird situation. I can't even explain it. Like the feeling, I was like, wait, so you're not the real person laying on my table? She's like, and she kept saying, like, you kept saying Samantha. So I thought it was close enough to Pamela. Which and those weren't even the real those weren't even like the real names. But, like, the real names weren't even, like, remotely close. Like, Samantha and Pamela were, like, similar, but, like, their real names weren't even remotely close. She was like, "I just wanna come in, and I thought maybe you could take me in early." Wild. Y'all, I can't even explain it to you, but if you have crazy stories, that's one of mine. If you have crazy stories, please go to my Estheticians in Business, the Facebook group, and add yourself so you can put in your crazy story because I want to know what your crazy stories are as an esthetician because I have heard some crazy stuff, especially from like waxers. That stuff is wild. So let me know. I want to know them. Okay. But let's get into it. Should I close my business? I think that's the real question you have to ask yourself is like, should I close my business? So if you're at the place in your life, in your business where you're contemplating the idea of closing your business and you're like, you know what? I think it's time. I'm struggling. I'm not making any money. I'm whatever. I'm paying out of pocket. I'm in debt. I'm in crazy amount of debt. I mean, I work with students who sometimes have 10, 15, $30,000 in debt because of just bad decisions that they've made. And so you have to ultimately choose, is it time to close your business? And I think the questions you kind of have to ask yourself is based off of a full analysis of your business. You have to almost and I always encourage this, remove your feelings. So, like, imagine this that you are talking to a friend who had a solo esthetician business, not you, but like your friend had this business. Ask that, and they're telling you all these issues that they're having and whatever. Would you encourage that person to figure it out, or would you encourage that person to close? And I think it really depends on you. One, you have to kind of figure out like what your work ethic is. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to figure it out? Or do you just want to call it quits and move on? And so I created like a list I'm going to share with you of things you have to look at. Okay. First, I want you to look at your accomplishments. I don't care if you've been open for 3 months or if you've been open for 6 months. I mean, I've seen estheticians close down their spas after 1 month of being open. 1 month. Okay. So I want you to look at your accomplishments. What are the things that you have done that you are proud of yourself for? One, you opened up a business. Do you know how many people open up businesses or want to open up businesses their whole lives and never do? How many people like watch other people live their dreams or attempt to live their dreams and they never do? I'm telling you right now, I would much rather be in a situation where I had to go back to an old situation, but I tried than stay in an old situation, the same situation forever and never try anywhere else. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? So I want you to look at what your accomplishments are. And I would encourage you, write those down. If you're at the place of wanting to leave your business, I want you to write down your accomplishments. And let's add, if you're in a place of just struggle bussing, I want you to write down your accomplishments. Those are the biggest things. I mean, you could talk about gratitude journals, all the things, but I mean, write down the things you won at, that you're currently winning at. And they can be small, minute things. Okay. And then I want you to perform a full analysis on your business, a full analysis. And there's a bunch of ways that you can actually do this. Unless you have like a master's degree in your business, my encouragement would be just to follow this basics. Okay. First thing I want you to look at is who your ideal client is. Full analysis. Okay. Not the client you serve, but who your ideal client is. Who your ideal client is. Because sometimes we serve a client who, because based off of our marketing and based off the words we use, is someone who isn't the person we actually want to be serving. So they could be like the right demographic, but maybe they're not the right paying client. Maybe they're not the person who's going to come back constantly or is going to need you or is going to have the good vibes that you want. So who is your ideal client? And you could fight answering that question all day because it's an annoying question to answer. Like it's really annoying to answer. I hate it. I personally hate that question, but it's a very important question to answer because identifying who your ideal client is more than just saying that they have a race, have a sex, have a gender, have a financial income, have, whatever, have brown hair and purple eyes. It really is much more than that. It goes all the way down to like, what's their age and what's their typical age group habits? What do they value? How do they purchase? Where do they find the things they want to purchase? What are their choices? What's it that gets them to come in? Like, what are those things that causes them to want to purchase from you? Like, those are the things that you have to ask. Those things you have to know about your ideal client. So ask yourself that, who's your ideal client? Then I want you to look at your pricing. Okay, don't come at me, but I want you to look at your pricing. And we're going to talk about pricing. And I do believe that a pricing your services is a whole other like whiteboard writing down. I mean, I have this throughout my entire estheticians in business course. Like if you get the Mama Jamma course, it has this whole thing. It's a whole section on just pricing your services. If you want some free stuff, go to my Instagram, Estheticians in Business. I know you're shocked. And go to the link. There's a link tree there that you can download what I'm about to talk about. So check that out. But if you decide and you want to know how to create like the right pricing strategy, it cannot be based off what your competitor does. That might be a good starting point, but it needs to be based off so much more. So the thing is, people forget to calculate is how much they want to make. How much do they want to get paid? So you have to figure out how much, say like one of your services, I say it's a 60-minute facial because that's what I did. And you have to figure out how much that 60-minute facial costs you. So costs you all the way down to every disposable, what it costs you for a cleanser, and what each one of those costs. So say the average is like $4. Okay. So you're $4. And then you need to figure out like what it costs to stay open, as far as like what it costs every single month to have your booking site, to have, Canva, to have your utilities if you pay for that, your Wi-Fi, your cell phone, whatever. How much does it cost to stay open? That is where that's very important. Okay, then you're gonna like add those together and you're gonna come up with a price of how much it really costs you every single month to do bare minimum. Okay, it's your break even analysis, what it's called. And you might need to figure out, okay, if every service with all those things actually cost me like $16 and my overall numbers, right, is say like $1,200 a month. You have to figure out like how many services you have to provide to hit that number if you're only charging $16 for a service. Now, the idea is you have to figure out, say it's like $16 for a service, right? For a total service. You also have to figure out like how much money do you need to pay off debt? How much money do you need to pay off or to pay for retail, back bar, if you need to purchase that, if you need decor, if you need to pay yourself. And the thing people forget is how they pay themselves. You have to pay yourself. So once you calculate all that information, you now have to decide how much you want to pay yourself. I think it says like I think Google, the average, just off memory, said that the average esthetician makes less than $52,000 a year. And that's like an overhead, or not overhead, but that is in like total. That is before you actually pay yourself. Okay. And that's like $0 at the end of the day. Okay. You're living in poverty. We're not doing that. So you say you want to make $100,000 in a year. You have to figure out what that is divided by 12, divided by 4, divided by your hours. And that is how much you have to add to that price of that service, because that's what you're going to be paying yourself based off you having a full book. I know that sounds a little crazy, but what I want you to do is I want you to go into my Instagram and download the pricing your services, and it's going to walk you through all of it. Of course, you can always DM me if you have questions. But if you have my course, you already like your solid sauce. You know how to do this. But basically, pricing your services are so important because once you know who your ideal client is, you then are going to price your services based around what they want. So when I opened my spa, I did not want to service clients that were looking for this super bougie thing. I wanted clients that were able to come in, enjoy, that were like middle class, that wanted to have correction, but also want to have relaxation. So I ensured that I had a skincare brand that worked around that. And that is what you have to choose is like, what are your prices? What are the products you offer that are based around what your ideal client is expecting? Because I'm telling you right now, as somebody who can afford a higher service, if your service's price is $30, I'm not going to come and see you because I'm expecting that experience to not be good. I'm expecting to not be, you not have the education. I'm expecting to not have a clean space. I'm expecting you to not bring the value that I want based off your service. So I need you to really focus on that. Like, what is your pricing and because people will equate pricing and value to the same place. Okay. So I want you to focus on that too. Now we look at my notes over here and it always comes back down to your ideal client because what you are creating and how you are marketing, the experience you give, the reputation you have is based around who your ideal client is. If you're thinking about closing down your business, I want you to focus on the idea of you know your ideal client, you know your pricing, and that's right, right? You know your ideal client, you know your pricing's good. Well, let's look at your marketing because if your marketing is heckin' trash, you're going to have a lot of issues, okay? So, say your ideal client, you're like, "I love them. They are wonderful." And you realize that they are people that or maybe they're older people. Maybe your ideal client are like baby boomers. Okay. And you're trying to service them and you realize they're not on social media like that. They're not finding people like that. They may be on Google, but you need to find them where they are. So it's like, where are you marketing for that ideal client? Are you showing up there? And are you showing up there the exact same way every other esthetician is showing up there? Or are you showing up there as yourself? And sometimes you have to get rid of all the other stuff to figure out how to show up for yourself and as yourself. So ask yourself, like, how are you marketing to them? And if you have questions about that and you're like, I don't know what to do, I will link my free webinar in this. It's like how to get clients, 3 steps to fully booked. It's a free webinar. You can click the link. But this is so important because if you are marketing to them in the wrong places, the wrong ways, because you don't know who they are, you are legitimately wasting your time. And if you're not willing to learn how to change that or not willing to educate yourself on that, maybe running a business isn't something you should be doing right now. Maybe it should be something you could be coming back to. And don't come at me, don't hate me for saying this, but I do believe that there is a certain type of person that should be an entrepreneur. And that is a person that is willing to educate themselves, willing to pay a little bit to figure it out, and is somebody who is willing to like get dirty, get uncomfortable, and get in it to figure out what they're doing wrong so that they can do it right. They don't get butt hurt, they don't get upset with or embarrassed. They just do it. They get out there and they do it. And that's what you have to know is if you are marketing incorrectly, you are wasting your time. You need to figure out how to market correctly. Okay. And I see this with all love. There's so much love in this. But I just watch so many people struggle, 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 and be like, why am I not getting any clients? I saw somebody the other day post this thing that said, I haven't had any clients this entire month. And I have 2 clients booked for April. Like, what? How are you surviving? So you have to figure out how to market. And hey, listen, if I'm posting on Instagram, I'm posting on Facebook, all the posts. When was the last time you got networked? When was the last time you came up to somebody and you had a conversation with them and you gave them their business card and got them on Instagram so you could follow up with them? When was the last time that you spent time actually taking care of the things you needed to take care of versus scrolling and comparing yourself to every other estheticians out there? I know this is harsh, but stay with me. I love you. Okay. And then I want you to think about the experience that you're providing somebody. I do believe 100% if you're providing a beautiful experience that people will rebook with you. But there's a caveat to this. But if you're not encouraging them to rebook prior to leaving your service, the likelihood of them rebooking or like coming back again, so small, so small. I find so many people tell me that they are terrified to ask for the rebook or the pre-book before they leave and they just let their clients go. I'm not saying hold them hostage, but I'm definitely saying like, yo, can you book before you leave? I'm full. Even if you ain't full, say you're full. Because you're putting that in the universe. God's gonna bless what you ask for. So you're saying, hey, I'm gonna be super booked next month. Please go ahead and book now so you can get the spot you want. That's it. It's nothing else. And you have to understand that people will, yes, 100% come back for the experience, but they will rebook and pre-book when you prompt them to. I can't even tell you the thousands of times I have gone to a massage therapist and they have not rebooked with them. And I went to a different massage therapist because I had no connection to the other massage therapist. I had no commitment. I had no contract to them. Like, not contract, but you get what I'm saying. So you have to understand that the experience is important, yes, but the pre-book is very important. Now, the experience has to be good on what they're expecting. If you are priced very high, your value better be through the roof. I'm talking about skincare education, giveaways, freebie, or not really giveaways, but freebies. I mean, the relaxation, the silence, whatever is they're expecting, it better be flippin' top notch. Okay. Top notch. So understand your experience is important. And if your experience sucks right now, or you don't even know if it sucks right now, I want you to picture that you go through the service. You go through the booking process, you go through their full service, you go through everything. Picture that, and then come back and decide if you have a good service or a good experience or not. Because if you are experiencing non-happiness while you go through your own experience, then maybe you need to change something up. I mean, even all the way down to the smell. I remember when I would have my clients come into the suites and somebody was doing like acrylics in the building, I would feel horrendous because they would walk in and they would just get a waft of this. I would not want to come back to a place that gives me a headache. So I would always make sure that my space smelled delicious. I provided a place that felt good, that was warm, that was nice, that I always had that. So you want to make sure that you are providing the service and providing the experience that your clients are expecting. And I just want to add this in there. Stay off your phone. Yo, I had a service the other day and this girl was on her phone. On her phone. I'm sorry, what? Wild. Am I coming back? Absolutely not. Because you don't even give me the time that I'm paying for. This is not valuable to me. I could be on my phone and listen to Little Wayne in the background anytime. I don't need to hear your phone. So, and then the last part of it is your reputation. And I'm not talking about like your Google reviews. I'm not talking about what people are saying necessarily, like after they leave your service, the testimonials you'll get. Talking about how you communicate your business in a sense of, do you offer discounts all the time? Are you somebody who people are expecting to get a discount? Like, are your clients like, yeah, I'm just waiting for her to provide a discount so I could come back? Like, why would I book when I know there's going to be a discount? My husband said this one time because I wanted to buy something. He was like, they're going to do the sale again, like soon, I'm sure. And I didn't purchase then. And they sure as heck did the sale like a week later. And I think that's the thing you have to remember is, are people anticipating your discounts? Are they like, yes, I'm ready for them? Now, I'm for promo. I am about it. Black Friday, Christmas, Memorial Day, New Year's, whatever your promo system is. I teach about this in my marketing course about promotions and how important they are. But are people really focused on like the discount that they're waiting for you to provide? You have to remember that people are going to anticipate what you have, whether it's good or bad. Seriously. Like I always said, like I never ran discounts. So I did like my model thing at first, but after that, I never ran discounts unless it was Black Friday or is my membership. That was your discount. If you wanted to get a discount, you joined my membership because that's how you got cheaper or more discounted things. You got discounted products, you got discounted services, you got free things, you got your monthly promo, whatever it was. That was my membership. So think about how you're communicating your business. Are people used to you providing a discount? And I think the thing you have to remember is if you stop providing the discount, it's going to suck really bad at first. Okay. It's like ripping that band aid off, but it's like a slow rip where it's like, oh my gosh, this is horrendous. Okay. This is going to suck because no one's going to be coming in. But then you're going to retrain these people. Like they're going to still need your massage. They're still going to need your facials. They're still going to need that stuff. And you're just going to find another way to get them to come in because they're going to come in for you and your services and what you provide and not just your discount. I can tell you one of my least favorite clients, and I always tell people this, that I wish I hadn't done it, but I ran a stupid promo, very, very, very silly promo, where it made my memberships so inexpensive. Oh my gosh. And a few people did it and it locked in. And I was like, yeah, it's forever, blah, 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 blah. But I had this one client who was like that person, like that Groupon hunter. She was like that. She even said, oh, I just, whatever Groupon hairstylist I can find, that's who I'll go to. and she was terrible, and I hated her vibe because she didn't purchase anything from me. She didn't ever do an add-on. She only wanted everything that was free, which is fine, but as a business member, like, that sucks, but that sucks. And so you have to realize, like, how you communicate your business, the discounts you offer, the reputation you have comes into play. So if you're like, "I kinda wanna close down my business," I want you to look at the reputation you've created. Now, there's always time to change your reputation, but you have to know it's gonna take you time to get out of that reputation, just like it did me with that membership. It takes time because it can be so easy to be like, "Here's this discount, here's this discount, here's that discount," but are people expecting you to have this discount, and do they actually wanna come for that? Or are they coming for you and your business and, like, what you offer? So, 100% recommend, like, if you're wanting to close down your business, I want you to look at those things. When you look at your price, I want you to look at your clients, the people you're marketing to, where you're marketing to them. I want you to look at your experience. Are you providing experience that makes people wanna come back? Are you creating a reputation that makes people be like, "You have to go see her. She is so good." Like, or are you just doing what everybody else does? You have to be your own person. And so, if at the end of the day, you don't want to do any of those things I just talked about, and you don't want to figure it out, and you don't want to take the time, maybe it's time to close down the business. And I tell people this that, like, your thoughts behind closing a business, or maybe you get maybe you get a second job and you choose your hours that still work for you, but also work for your client. Maybe you just hustle really hard for the next few months. Maybe you really figure out, depending on your financial situation, maybe you just like really take a second to like really figure it out. I'm always here to help y'all. I know I've talked about a few things I do, but I also offer coaching. So if you ever need help with coaching or stuff like that, I always offer that. Or you can honestly just DM me and I'll answer questions on Instagram. It's like, seriously, no hesitation. But for real, like, if you are willing to do these things, like, let me know. I'm willing to help you. If you are willing to work through these analysis and figure out, should I close my business? Or even if you just want to look at your business and see if you could do better somewhere, these are the things you need to look at. Anyways, I know I kind of came up with a big banger again in episode 2. So if you guys have topics you love and you want to share them with me, always DM me and let me know. And I'll definitely make topics about podcast like in this podcast. Anyways, I will see you guys next week. And I hope you still love me because I still love you. So see you later.